Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Oaklawn Park here on Saturday. It is the 28th of March, 2026. Gonna look at the stakes races here on Arkansas Derby Day. But before I get on to that, remember to follow me on X at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the Arkansas Derby and all the other stakes races on the program from Oaklawn. We'll be looking at races 4, 9, 4, 9, 11, and 13. Wish they couldn't just put all these races back to back to back, but they did. So we have them scattered around the card. So let's start off with the fourth race from Oaklawn, which is the Temperance Hill Stakes. It's going for a $200,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. Field of 6 horses going 2,400 meters or the marathon trip of ground of a mile and a half on the main track, starting actually finishing at the 16th pole finish and starting at the 9/16th pole on the backstretch. So a bit of a shorter stretch here. Doesn't really matter with the long race, I don't think. Top selection here. I love the 6-horse Jokester. 6-5-1-3 for me in the superfecta. 6-5-1-3 super. Top selection 6-horse Jokester. This 5-year-old going by Practical Joke. Kevin Attard trains. Pietro Moran gets the mount. He ran the horse most recently at Laurel, mile and eighth in the post time stakes in mid-February, where he won by 8 1/4 lengths that day. He only had 3 other rivals. Going down the backstretch, he had a little trouble leaving the backstretch, actually, but was a little bit wide late, but he flew home clear. He was much the best. Back on dirt, that was a very good run. He wants to run forever. He'll be hopefully a little bit forwardly paced with a smaller, compact group of horses. I think he could stay for days, and I think he could run a good race today. Ran on 24th of January, Gulfstream prior, mile 70 Tapeta in a handicap, finishing fifth by 4 lengths that day. Didn't have the best beginnings, was stupidly wide, but he was gaining some ground late. I didn't think it was a half bad race in defeat, and the valedictory at Woodbine, a mile and a half on the 6th of December. Finished second by a length, way out of it early on, was way wide, but he was really gaining some ground late. 94 Beyer in defeat, wasn't a bad race at all. And the autumn stakes of Woodbine over the mile and the 8th. First start with the new connections, or excuse me, first start with Kevin Attard in about a year and a half. Finished second by 1 3/4 lengths. He was again a little bit wide, but he was really gaining some ground. Prior to that, he was running in the Midwest and was running half bad. He actually ran and won a very nice allowance race at Thistle. Decent third behind a hit show in the West Virginia Governor Stakes, and then ran a little bit of a disappointing race at Prairie. But when he runs for Kevin Attard, he really runs these good races. Back to the mile and a half trip, I think he could win. The 5-horse Parchment Paper is a very interesting horse for Belmont and Luis Saez. He won the Belmont Gold Cup off the turf over the mile 3/4 at Saratoga last June. Came back to win the Birdstone very easily, and then they took the horse to the Melbourne Cup. It was good that they tried the Melbourne Cup, but he just didn't do a lot of running. He's back to stateside. He likes to run forever. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins. Even money is I know it's a crap price, but he could definitely get a piece of it. I'll use him on the pick 4. But to recount my selection for the fourth now from Oaklawn, it is Temperance Hill. Going to take 6-horse Jokester. Give kudos to the 5-horse Parchment Party. 6-5-1-3 super. 6-5 in the multi-race. Let's get to the ninth race from Oaklawn, which is the American Pharoah Overnight. It's going for a $135,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards, which have not won a sweepstakes 2025 or 2026. Field of 8 horses going 1,700 meters or mile 1/16 on the main track. Gonna go take the number 4 horse here, Publisher, as a top selection. 4-1-6-5 for me in the superfecta. 4-1-6-5 super, top selection 4-horse Publisher. This 4-year-old colt by American Pharoah here, Steve Asmussen trains. Eric Asmussen gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently, 7th of March here at Oaklawn, a mile 16th on the slop in a allowance race for 125,000. Winning by a neck that day. He had to grind it out to the wire. He was a little bit wide that day, but he really, got to the front end and moved his way up. He got the job done. Very good return to the winner's circle. He likes running here at Oakland. He's 7-2 on this track, but he always just runs these bang up races. He's back against stakes quality horses. He actually ran against quality horses, even though he was a maiden for quite a while, but was running good race against those quality horses. Back here again, I think he could get the job done. Took him 13 starts to break the maiden. Like I said, he was running. He ran the in the Derby last year's maiden. Didn't run half bad in some of those Derby prep races, but he finally broke his maiden in February in a mile 16 main special weight, 70 cents to the dollar. Won by 5 3/4 lengths. He had a very troubled trip that day, but he found room late. Very good run. He was close to no cigar in quite a few prior main special weights. Oaklawn Mile on the 26th of December. He finished second by 7.5 lengths, where he just couldn't catch the winner, but he ran his heart out, and then had a bit of a trouble trip, a wide trip also at Churchill in the Mud in November. But he was on the Derby Trail last year. Finished 7th in the Southwest. came fourth in the Rebel, got into the Derby by finishing second in last year's Arkansas Derby, ran 14th in the Derby last year. We had a bit of a bumpy trip from the mid-pack post-draw, but ran a very good fourth, I thought, in the Indiana Derby. We ran a decent fourth in the Oklahoma Derby. Like I said, ran decent numbers that could really get win against his horses. Back here at 3-1. Let's make it three in a row for him. Horse that took a while to break his mane. I think the one horse, winning Mac Avenue could win also for Luis Saez. He hasn't won in quite a few minutes since last 2 years ago at here at Oakland over mile 16th and up 75, where he won by 3/4 length on the front end. A very good race. Then his form kind of went backwards, but if you go by the buyers as recently, his buyers have been going up a lot. If it's going to be a horse come from behind, I think to be him 7-2. Let's use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection now for the ninth from Oaklawn, it's the American Pharoah overnight. Going to take the four horse publisher. Give kudos to the one horse in Winamac Avenue. 4165 Super, 4-1 in the multi race. Let's get to the 11th race now from Oaklawn, which is the Oaklawn Mile. It's a grade 3 event going for a $500,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 8 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or lap around the main track, which is a mile in circumference here in the Oaklawn Mile. If you want to kind of use this race as a prep race for the Oaklawn Handicap in a few weeks, you can. You could use the previous race also for an Oaklawn Handicap prep race, or you can even use last week's Essex Handicap. That being said, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse here. New What's New as a top selection, 7465 for me in the superfecta. 7465 Super, top selection 7 horse. New What's New. This 4-year-old gelding by Munnings here. James DeVito trains. Luis Saez gets the mount. They ran the horse 2 months ago here in the Razorback Handicap at mile 16th here, and he finished second by 3 3/4 lengths. Magnitude really freaked that day. He's running today in Dubai. This horse sat on the front and just got overtaken by a decent horse. Refreshing here with some decent buyer numbers back to a mile. I think he could really run a good race. Ran terrifically over the mile 16th here in an allowance race back in early February. Went by 12 1/2 lengths on the front and all throughout. He just kept going with a 103 buyer. He ran his heart out that day and then broke his maiden going a mile here on the day after Christmas. Went by 7 1/2 lengths that day. Again on the front, he kept going. His previous races around 1 turn, he was running okay, but his coming out party was going around 2 turns. Horses that like Oaklawn really like Oaklawn. He looks like he likes this track. He's training incredibly well over it. He just finished a couple lengths behind a very good horse who might be the best older horse in the division, I think. 3-1. I'm going to use him on the ticket. I think the 4 horse here, East Avenue for Brendan Walsh and Christian Torres going also, hasn't been seen since last year's West Virginia Derby where he kind of stunk up the place, finished 5th by 10 lengths where he just had nothing. He won the Matt win prior to that. Churchill, though, going a mile 16th quite easily. Won by a half length on the front end. A very good, easy run. Last year's Derby, he just didn't have a good trip. But then he had a very good place in last year's Bluegrass where he just, got caught the wire, but he ran his heart out. If they could find the East Avenue of his early 2-year-old campaign, he wins this race by a mile. Let's see what he does into his 4-year-old campaign. He has a beautiful pedigree that can go 1.25 miles for days. I'm wondering how he's going to do in this 4-year-old campaign. He's a very interesting horse. Watch out for him here today. And even the 6-horse Coal Battle, horse that's loved the Arkansas Derby trail last year. Finished third in last year's Arkansas Derby, but he won the Rebel, won the Smarty Jones, won the Springboard Mile at Remington. He did very well going into the Derby last year. Disappointing run in last year's race, but he's come back in this one today, training well. Give him a shot on the ticket here. But to recount my selection for the 11th from Oaklawn now, it's the Oaklawn Mile. Going to take the 7-horse New What's New. Kudos to the 4-horse East Avenue and the 6-horse Coal Battle. 7465 Super, 746 in the multi-race. 13th event from Oaklawn. The 13th event from Oaklawn, its feature of the meet, it is the Arkansas Derby. It's a grade 1 event going for a $1.5 million purse race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 9 horses entered, but we'll be down to a field of 8 horses because the 7-horse Napoleon Solo will run next Saturday here in New York at Aqueduct in the Wood. So 8 horses going 1,800 meters or a mile and 1/8 in the Arkansas Derby. I love the 6-horse Renegade as a top selection. 6-4-9-2 for me in the superfecta. 6-4-9-2 super. Top selection 6-horse Renegade. This 3-year-old Colbane to the Mischief. Top Fletcher trains. I. Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in Sam F. Davis at Tampa. Mile 16th, 7th of February, and he won by 3 3/4 lengths that day. He doesn't have a lot of forwardly pace. He sat back early. He moved his way into the race. And he got the job done dueling clear late. That was a good run. 93 buyer. He definitely improved from his 2-year-old form. He's refreshing here to Arkansas, where he's training well. Should see with the long stretch, should really, get a good run late. I think he could really improve off that run. He ran in the Remsen prior to that, a mile and eighth here in New York at Aqueducts, where he finished second by 2 lengths. Paladin Freaked was the next start winner. It looks like he's going to be a great horse also. This horse is just wide. He just couldn't catch an outgamer horse. This horse was drawn in the parking lot also at JFK, but he ran his heart out there. And then the main special weight behind the arch rival Paladin in the main special weight Aqueduct, 1 turn mile in mid-October, went by head. He bumped into Paladin in the lane. He actually won. Since it was a small margin victory, they placed Paladin up first. Right call. This horse, they both ran very well that day, even with the bumpiness and the gameness in the lane. And then on debut, going 6.5 in the main special weight at Saratoga, finished third by 18 and a quarter lengths that day, where he just needed something that day. He was just a little bit flat, but he wasn't bred for the trip. He's bred for a mile and a quarter, mile and eighth, the Derby trip. Refreshing here, 3-2. If he wins today, he might be your Derby favorite. I think the 4 horse Brooklyn for Jamie Torres and Rudolph Brissett. A bit of an upsetter here, but I like his race at Oaklawn here on 3rd January, where he got to the front end, won it by 3 1/4 lengths. He dueled and kept going with an 86 buyer. Came back to run behind Pavlovian in the Sunderland Derby after that. He ran an okay third. He needs something more, but they did go a little bit a little bit slow at 3/4 maybe, which really wasn't to his liking. If they just keep it going a little bit faster, I think he could win. Prior to that, he ran in the street sense at Churchill, where he finished sixth by 14 lengths, where he didn't have the best beginnings. Also, was just a little bit too wide, a little bit green. He really improved after that at Oaklawn. He is training incredibly well coming to this race. 20-1, I'll give him a shot on the ticket. He's either going to run a massive race or he's going to finish way out of it. And I think the 9 was a litmus test for Francisco Arrieta and Bob Baffert to get a trip also. He hasn't won since the Los Alfuturity, where he only had 5 other rivals, but he won by 1.5 lengths in the front end. A very good race. Came back to run a decent third in the Rebel, where he just kind of yielded late. If they let him come from a tracking trip, I think it will be a little bit better for him. I think his ability, give him a shot at 5-1 on the ticket. But like I said, I think Renegade looks like a very nice horse. And like I said, if he wins today, he might be your Derby favorite. But it's going to be an exciting one, this one. To recap my selection now for the 13th from Oaklawn, it is the grade $1.5 million Arkansas Derby. We're going to take 6 horse Renegade, give kudos to the 4 horse Brooklyn and the 9 horse Litmus Test. 6-4-9-2 Super, 6-4 6-4 6-4-9-2 Super, 6-4-9 in the multi-race. Forgot my train of thought there. That being said, good luck to all, and please follow me on X at Horse Racing K5. Good luck, everybody.